Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over their environment without saying a word? They don't shout. They don't beg. They simply withdraw. And suddenly everything changes. Everything changes. The energy shifts. People start to wonder, to feel that absence. Imagine if you did the same. If you chose silence instead of an automatic response. When you stop being always available, the world around you goes into crisis because people are used to controlling you through your reactions. But the day you choose to withdraw, the game changes. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When you become inaccessible, observe who gets irritated, who tries to provoke you just to get a reaction. Their desperation reveals how much you are still being manipulated without realizing it. You have been taught that your value lies in your availability. But this excessive availability is not a virtue, it's a prison. You keep giving yourself to please, to not lose people who, deep down, were never truly with you. With every forced yes, you give away a piece of your energy. And at the end of the day, all that remains is an emptiness you can't explain. Being always available makes you predictable, and anything that is predictable becomes a tool. People use you like an emotional emergency button. They press it when they want attention, and then they put you back on the shelf. You don't realize it because you wear what Jung called the persona, the mask to be accepted. You say everything is fine when you are suffocating. You answer immediately, you justify yourself, you defend yourself, as if you owed something to the world. But the more you place yourself at the center of others' stage, the more you disappear from your own. Being available at all times is a subtle form of self-abandonment. And here comes the cruelest point. The more available you are, the less value others give you. What is too abundant becomes an emotional rag. No one respects what they don't have to earn. The people who always want you available don't want you, but what you provide. Validation, comfort, distraction. When you set a boundary, they get irritated. Not because you've changed, but because you've stopped being functional for them. But why do we react so much? The answer lies in what Jung called psychic energy. Our mind is an energy system, and every thought, emotion, and action consumes a part of that energy. Are you choosing where your energy goes, or are you letting the world decide for you? Every time you react impulsively, when you defend yourself from useless criticism or engage in sterile arguments, you are wasting your inner strength. And Jung was clear, what you resist persists. The more you react, the more you bind yourself. Emotionally drained people are not weak. They have just misdirected their energy. And those who live exhausted become vulnerable, an easy prey for manipulators and opportunists. They notice that you don't know how to guard your energy, and they take advantage of it. A healthy psyche knows how to keep energy within. It knows how to say no. It knows how to remain silent. It knows how to observe before acting. And here we enter a dark territory, silent manipulation. Opportunistic people don't need to force you. They just trigger the buttons you've left exposed, and you react always. Jung called this projection, the mechanism by which others project onto you what they do not see in themselves. And the more emotionally available you are, the more you become a blank canvas for these projections. That partner who always needs to be saved, that person who praises you only as long as you are useful, they are not relating to you. They are relating to the role you agree to play for fear of being abandoned. The most effective manipulation occurs in the silence of guilt, when you feel you owe the other person something. But when you stop reacting, the game breaks. When you start responding with silence, the projections crumble, the mask falls, and people are left disoriented. Now, they are forced to look inside themselves, and that is unbearable. Your unavailability is a threat because it forces others to confront their own emptiness. But are you ready to face the discomfort of being misunderstood or attacked to protect yourself? Because in that silence, a new kind of power is born. The modern world is noisy. Everyone wants to answer, to win useless debates, even if it costs them their peace. But real power is in conscious and strategic silence. A silence that is not absence, but amplified presence. When you stop reacting, you start observing. And by observing, you see the patterns, the manipulation games, the cycles of self-sabotage. Silence brings clarity, and clarity is dangerous for those who thrive on your reaction. Silence is not the absence of a voice. It is the mastery of one's own energy. It is the refusal to engage in battles that are not worth your wear and tear. Conscious unavailability does not mean being arrogant or indifferent. It means no longer being accessible to anyone at any time. It starts with small actions, not answering immediately, breathing before reacting, turning off your phone without guilt. And you don't need to justify your absence or your silence. You owe nothing to anyone but yourself. This, for many, is unforgivable because you take away their power to control you. Do you want a thermometer for your evolution? Observe who distances themselves when you become more reserved. Observe who accuses you of having changed when you start to protect yourself. These are not signs that you are wrong. They are proof that you have begun to free yourself. At first, it will be uncomfortable. You will feel guilty, selfish, but you have spent your life conditioned to put yourself second. It is natural for change to cause discomfort. When you say no to the world, you say yes to yourself. When you withdraw from a toxic environment, you reaffirm that your peace is worth more than any false connection. What happens after distancing? First comes an uncomfortable silence. Then, gradually, this silence transforms. It begins to purify, to calm, to heal. And then comes solitude. But not the solitude of abandonment. It is the solitude of total presence, yours. The solitude of one who no longer betrays oneself to keep others close. And in that space, where there was confusion, clarity enters. Where there was anxiety, peace enters. Where there was need, a new strength enters. You will lose people, but you will find yourself. You are not running from the world. You are returning to yourself. It is at this point that you stop being a reactor and become a creator. The people who feel uncomfortable with your absence reveal that they never wanted you, but the role you played. And this is liberating. When you are no longer available for anything, you become precious, rare, unforgettable. This is a rebirth, the beginning of a life where you are no more available for emotional crumbs or mind games. Now you only accept what resonates with your peace, with your truth, with your completeness. And if you've made it this far, it's because a part of you is already ready for this new path. It has already understood that being loved means nothing if you have to abandon yourself for it.